marriage. I have no idea why I chose to play Bob the Builder, but there I was, attempting to gain his favor by gaining the favor of his family. I chose to accompany Robert after realizing that he would not spend a single weekend with me. His mother and sister were not happy to see him the one and only time I visited. Even more unexpected was the presence of my sister-in-law, Sarah, 26F, and her freeloading fiancé, Dylan, 26M. In essence, I was the only one who was never invited to participate. I explained that I had come to surprise them and that I had brought a cake with me. As though Sarah had told the greatest joke in the world, they all chuckled when my sister-in-law added, "A nasty surprise, I see." Beatrice, 56F, Robert's mother, stated that they didn't have enough food for me because they didn't expect strangers because this was family time. Since I was his wife, I expected Robert to remark something about how much more of a part of the family I am than Dylan, but instead he was staring out the window and was totally absorbed in his thoughts, or at least acting that way. Robert gave me the car keys stoically after I informed him I would drive home. His mother waved goodbye with a smile and advised me not to act like a jealous child and bother Robert in that way. I cried all the way home and left without saying anything because I was so embarrassed. The following day, Robert took me out to dinner at my favorite continental restaurant after returning home that day with flowers and chocolates. Therefore, he was aware of the abhorrent treatment, he simply decided not to confront it. Robert treated me like a queen for the entire week that followed, until the following weekend, at which point he left for his contented family. Until the following weekend, he would return and overcompensate. After a few months of marriage, this occurred, and even the preferential treatment ceased. Dismissal took its place. He would blame me of not understanding his responsibilities to his family and say that I should be accustomed to his Saturday breakfast with his family by now if I ever mentioned how lonely I felt on the weekends and wanted to spend time with him. He frequently accused me of exaggerating. I told my mother about my extreme dissatisfaction. According to Mom, if we had a child, Robert might be more involved and at home and I might not feel as alone. I reprimanded her and told her that having a child would be a very selfish motive, but she managed to get the notion into my head, and I continued to consider it. I might have to drop the child off at my mom's before I left for work because we would both be working parents, but on the weekends, I would be able to spend a lot of time with the child. Wouldn't the baby's father want the same thing? I asked my husband whether he thought we were ready to become parents as I gradually developed a kind of baby fever. He was ecstatic and said that his mother had even hinted at this. He shrugged and stated that his mother was growing old and ready to be a grandma when I asked him why she wanted us to have a child. Therefore, it would be beneficial to have a young man who could look after her. I informed him that I didn't believe he was ready to be a father and that he couldn't use our child to care for his mother. The baby conversation was out of the question after our argument. I'm not sure what changed, but all of a sudden Robert began spending his weekends at home. He resumed his pre-marriage treatment of me, even purchasing tickets to the Maldives for our much-postponed honeymoon. During our week-long honeymoon in the Maldives, Robert made me feel incredibly unique and adored. He claimed he wanted to make amends for hurting my feelings. I fell straight into his trap, foolish as I was. We found out I was pregnant after returning from our vacation. It delighted Robert. Robert persuaded me that we were prepared to become parents, despite my reservations. During the first 3 months of my pregnancy, he took exceptional care of me, taking me to the doctor, making sure I took my vitamins, staying at home on the weekends, ordering all the food I wanted, and shopping for our unborn child. Things returned to their pre-vacation state in the 4th month. He had gotten me pregnant and ensured that I would do all in my power to avoid having the baby. That was the act's entire purpose. I was really depressed in the weeks before my labor. My mom came over to look after me, but she always blamed Robert's actions on his wealth, which was all that mattered to her. The 3rd week of December was my due date. Mom attended her brother's funeral 2 weeks prior to my birth. I was unable to attend my uncle's funeral because the due date was so near. I pleaded with my hubby to spend the weekend at home. My uncle's passing made me sad and lonely. I didn't want to be at home by myself on that particular day. I stated this to my husband and he responded, "Sel, you are going to be a mother and make a lot of sacrifices in the future, so being alone for a day is nothing compared to the sacrifices that you have to make. I will suggest that you better sleep it off. I will see you tonight. Don't wait up for me. I will have dinner with them. Bye, honey, take care. Remember you have to take care of yourself for our little Eddie." He took the car keys and drove off without even waiting for my answer. That particular day, I was feeling very ill, so I went to lie down and dozed off for almost an hour. I woke up with excruciating cramping. I was horrified to discover that my water had burst when I noticed that the bed was damp. I contacted my spouse right away. Before answering, he hung up the phone twice. His voice was absolutely irritated. When I heard my water break, I actually screamed. He said, "So why are you wasting time calling me? Call the hospital or something." "I don't know, man. Gosh, you are a grown woman. Pull yourself together and face the situation. I am literally between brunch with everybody. Even Dylan's parents are here. Stop calling me." The line died. After staring at the phone I was holding, I went outside onto the street. I couldn't even drive myself to the hospital since Robert had stolen the car. A man stopped when I flagged down a car. He held the door open for me in a hurry. I was taken to the hospital in a hurry. Mr. Singh, the gentleman, completed all the papers and asked if I wanted him to make a phone call. He came and informed me that no one was answering after I gave him my husband's phone. In that instant, a stranger named Mr. Singh stood up. Eddie was the only person who came to see me after I gave birth. He brought me chicken wings, bananas, and baby outfits. I started to cry. Since my uncle was unable to be present in person, I had the impression that his spirit had sent this man. Mr. Singh gave me a pat on the hand and congratulated me. He muttered a prayer for Eddie after I handed him over to him. I reminded him of his daughter, he said, and I should call him if I ever needed anything. I got his card from him. I noticed that he practiced divorce law. I believed that all of the signals were coming from my guardian angel. I told Mr. Singh without hesitation that I was looking for a place to stay. I desired a home of my own. He offered to transfer me into his penthouse, saying I wouldn't have to worry about the rent until I started working. He turned back before leaving, saying, "By the way, you can call me uncle." That evening, my hubby called in the interim. I didn't answer, but I did see it ring. I requested the nurses not to tell my husband that I was there in case he called since I didn't want him to know. They concurred. My spouse texted me to inquire which hospital I was at. I didn't respond. I was questioned by the nurses if they ought to contact social services. I requested that they refrain. The physicians and nurses were incredibly understanding and nice. My mother would undoubtedly tell Robert where I was, so I didn't even answer her phone. When Uncle Singh arrived the following day, he informed me that everything was prepared for my move-in. Since his daughter used to live there, he claimed there wasn't much to prepare anyhow. It was not long ago that she left the nation to work somewhere in Germany. He claimed that because he missed his daughter so much, it would be pleasant to have someone live in her apartment. His wife was equally excited to meet me, he informed me. I was driven to their tidy and lovely apartment by Uncle Singh. Auntie quickly began discussing ways to make things comfortable for me, even though she was overweight. I kept telling them that all I wanted was to stay there, but they kept asking if I wanted anything. After telling them all that had transpired, I requested that my uncle initiate the divorce process. I replied that I had never believed in anything more when he questioned whether I was certain about it. I was instructed by my uncle to text my spouse about the birth of my son. So I sent Robert an SMS about it. He informed me that I had been really irresponsible and that we needed to go meet his family right now with Eddie. He had the audacity to believe that I would take my son to meet his toxic family, I told him. After a period of silence, he continued. "Don't be a kid. We have to take Eddie to his godmother." When I questioned him who made the decision to name Robert's sister as the godmother, he told me to stop being funny since that was how it was always meant to be. I lost my composure and began to scream, "You know what's ridiculous? It's you. You are the damn joker. I had to take a lift to the damn hospital and give birth alone. If you loved me and your son, you would have rushed to us. You are so damn selfish, and your family is crazy. You are not going to be a part of my son's life. You will hear from my lawyer soon. I am divorcing you." When I hung up, I was furious. Auntie seemed somewhat worried. She said that my spouse was a child and not a man when I hung up. For the first time in a long time, I laughed. When my mother called, she went on and on about how awful I was and how Robert had called to let her know what had happened. She informed me that because I had taken my son away from them, their family was pursuing charges. It seems that I am a self-centered mother who only cares about herself, so I should be hauled to court and have my son taken away from me. They claimed that I was unfit to be a mother because of my depression. I informed my mother that I didn't care about their opinions since I was confident I would win the case and be granted sole custody of my son. I ended the call and made the decision not to answer any more calls from my relatives. In order to augment my income, I began applying for freelance jobs. Even though I had a job already, I needed more if I wanted to provide for my son comfortably. My phone began buzzing nonstop with texts all of a sudden. Dylan's entire family and my in-laws were sending me hateful texts. They were calling me a villain in derogatory terms since I had destroyed their family. The only thing that is saving you right now is the fact that you don't know your address. Otherwise,